me when I'm talking to them to understand, how they want to talk, because sometimes they're very slow. They're difficult to basically pronunciate words or how to express themselves. So I'm in there basically for that. So I think this is very nice, and I want to say thank you so much for the opportunity.
Well, you're welcome. I think you've said it really well in relationship to how schools can be welcoming places, districts, charter schools. Because
Yes.
I've seen some of the like best instruction ever in schools with a really diverse group of students. I often work with Utah International Charter School with refugee students. So, Ruben, I think you were going to say something.
Thank you. My name is Ruben Munoz. I'm currently a PE teacher for Davis School District. I worked for Second District Court translating many years ago for about 6, 7 years. I'm familiar with it, but I haven't done it for a while. My parents are from Guatemala. I was born in Guatemala, but I was raised since 3 years old in the United States, so I'm fully bilingual. But I love helping the families as well, as some of you others have also mentioned. I'm looking forward to see what I can learn on this course and apply it to, be able to be a better translator. I did have a quick question that maybe it'll help some others. As you were explaining about the course, I went into my Canvas and I can't see anything that shows that I currently have the Canvas course assigned. Should we be able to see it now in Canvas?
Yeah, remember, it's USBE Canvas. It's
Davis
not
School
your,
District.
it's not Davis School District Canvas.
Yeah. Okay,
So on,
so
so on the syllabus, you'll actually see how to register.
okay.
So just look on the syllabus and it'll give you the link that goes directly to the USBE Canvas. And Ruben, that's a really good question because that often happens. Because when people are reading the syllabus, everyone says Canvas and we talk about it and everybody uses Canvas. And so they're just assuming it's going to show up in their district or their charter Canvas system. No, you have to actually register for the USBE Canvas course. The other thing is when you finish, and if you have a Cactus number, then you would actually get 2 Midas credits. For your ongoing licensure.
Okay.
So that's the other thing. Ruben, thank you so much for that question. Very important question. Good thing you asked it.
I have a question. I'm sorry, my video is for some reason not working. Can you hear me?
Yeah, but you just want to say who you are and where you're
Yes.
from?
So I'm Pamela Becker, and I actually taught at American Leadership Academy for 17 years as a second grade and then third grade dual immersion teacher. But my language is actually French. And so my question is, and I have done some interpreting over the years. I actually have a bachelor's degree in French from BYU and have been a French teacher as well as a regular classroom teacher. My question though is, once I become certified, I know that I'm retired from ALA, but they had me sign on for this, and because we have a student that needs French interpreting. So I'm curious though if there would be more opportunities in a wider community since there's not as many French speakers. How I would go about finding out about that. And then, but that I do have all of that education experience being in IEPs, helping students and parents and, all of that for all those years that I was a regular classroom teacher.
Yeah, I actually wouldn't know how you would extend, but you know that the refugee African community, many of those families, and I don't really understand why they're not often in DLI French programs, but African families also, speak French. But
Right.
I wouldn't know how. The only way you could do that is, you know, actually advertise your services anyway. I mean, you could just, create, um, not necessarily a website, but you could actually send out information yourself in relationship to your ability to translate French, which often isn't, as in demand as Spanish and other Middle Eastern languages. So other questions or experiences that you want to share with us?
I would like to say something.
Yes, please. Can you say your name and where you're
Um, yes, my name is Jessica Sanchez. I am from Mexico. I've been here for half of my life, since I was 10, 11, maybe. So I'm very fluent in both English and Spanish. The question that I have, I am working for Weaver School District. And as you were talking about the in a classroom setting, that there's subtitles in Spanish, everything is done according to the student language. At what point do you get more involved in actually speaking English? Because these students that I'm working with, um, I'm one on one every day, but they just want to do everything in Spanish, even if the work is in English.
Yeah, I think it's really important for all of us to understand that literacy in your first language helps you become literate in your second language. So all the data that I have presented to the DLI program at USBE shows that if students are literate in Spanish, that means they read and write in Spanish and use it for academic understanding, that they actually, believe it or not, their annual increase in acquiring English, academic English, is 60% higher than those who aren't in DLI Spanish or, actually attaining literacy in their first language. So literacy in your first language really should be a priority for everybody, in the state. Another example is really supporting a family heritage language supports the understanding that knowing another language other than English is an asset and it's not a deficit. It's a valuable commodity that helps
Okay.
students become more successful. An example is, Tooele has this wonderful program in Go Shoot. San Juan has a wonderful language in Navajo. We've been working with the Southern Paiute for developing heritage language in relationship to people feeling and families feeling that their language is actually an asset and a benefit, instead of people thinking that somehow if you don't know English, there's something wrong with you. So literacy in your first language is a priority. Other
Thank you.
questions? You're welcome. So we have about 15 minutes left. I always start and end on time. So that's why it's important for everyone to actually get online next Wednesday at least 5 minutes ahead of time so we can start instantly. Unfortunately, I forgot I recorded it halfway in, which is okay because I'll send out the recording to all of you. And it'll be on the interpreter's playlist, and in the syllabus, it has a link to it. And, there are just really amazing conversations in the cohort we had in 2024, sharing their experiences, of working with families, and questions that came up really helped us connect and solve problems, whether it was a special ed issue or whether it was vaccinations with the USBE nursing people. who didn't have anything really translated and encouraged families to sign a waiver so their students weren't vaccinated, but the families wanted their children vaccinated. So all these actual problems that happen is really important, because how would anybody in USBE know that those things are going on so that families don't have access to all educational opportunities? We wouldn't know that unless people here are honest about it. And then I can connect with people at USBE and we can do some problem solving. Another big example would be, how do students learning English? And this is a civil rights law. And when you go to the Title III website, you can look at resources. You can see that, there's even a way that at secondary level, counselors can translate and they can use, the transcripts from other countries so they can give students credit. Refugee students shouldn't come in and they have a background that's really valuable, and all of a sudden, they're scheduled for all these low-level classes when they're very competent in their own language based on their academic understanding of science and mathematics. I'm actually working with a student from Afghanistan, Sohail, who they left Afghanistan and went to a refugee camp in Turkey. And then his family came here. He's really fabulous in math and science, but of course, he needs extra support for English related to taking the test in ACT because he wants to go to college. So to really understand the needs, of students and asking them what they want their future to be and helping their parents get access to those opportunities, especially during registration and meeting with counselors, is really important. And this is a great opportunity for all of you, to actually be advocates for the economic future of families in Utah who are gifted in that they speak another language other than English.
Christine,
Yes, Christelle, it's Christelle.
I'm sorry. My name is Sergeant Livia. I am one of the community liaison for Ogden School District. And I'm sorry I joined a little late this conversation, but I had a question for you. I don't know if something that has been talked before, but I would like to know because I was kind of curious about this. I don't know if you heard about the last executive order by Mr. Trump about the make English the official language in US. And I would like to know how that can affect our schools. I know we have a law, the HB 302, which is a law and help our families, to, if they need a interpretation, that we have to give that to them. But I don't know now having this executive order, how much it will be affect our school community.
Okay, so when I lived in California, there was, a state law because they were against bilingual education. Very conservative. And I'm conservative in the sense that I want money spent for children to make a difference. But people who assume that speaking another language is somehow a problem aren't very well educated. And just making blanket statements doesn't mean that that's not going to impact schools. In Utah, we have a state law, period. We have a language access policy. And in that language access policy, when you go over it in the course, you'll see that family engagement and parent involvement in relationship to educational opportunities for every single student in Utah is a Utah priority. That's why we have a state law. So my whole thing is we just keep doing what's in the best interest of our children, period.
Hey, that's
Anyone else?
That's good to know. I was really concerned about that because I said that makes a lot of different companies and places, they're not, by this executive order, they're not, if they cannot offer or they don't have the right to do it, like it's not an obligation like it was before. So that's why I was concerned about the education.
Okay. Most companies in Utah are not going to let go their workers in construction because they're Spanish speakers or whatever. This is not going to happen
About the interpretation.
because it's about economics. I mean, we just have to be realistic. Everything is about economics. I mean, another executive order that happened was, cutting down all the trees in national parks. I mean, have you actually seen the protests in national parks? No one's going to cut down a tree in a national park. So the other executive order was, encouraging the production of plastic straws. Okay, you think people are going to go out and buy plastic straws? Okay, you shouldn't be worrying about this. You should be spending your time enjoying your family, enjoying your friends, and being committed to the children that are in our schools and their families, period. That's all I'm going to say about that. Okay, anyone
I would
else?
Yes, I would like to say something, Miss.
I have a question too.
Okay, just wait a second.
Hello?
Okay, just wait a second. So there's too many people wanting to talk. So we're going to start with, is it Yaneth?
Yes, this is Yaneth. My name is Yaneth Ramirez. I work in Aaron County School District here in Cedar City. Thank you for this course and this great opportunity, Ms. Estrada. My question is, and I have been told and hear this around where I work, it's the district responsible to give notifications to the students' parents in their own language?
Yes.
Because they're not doing it where I work. And they have been told that it's not their job to translate the information that needs to be given in their language.
Okay, well, that's just against the law. It's against state law and it's against federal law. So if you want to send me an email in relationship to which district this is, I can deal with that.
Okay, and thank you. And I have another question. So once we get certified to be interpreters, will they pay us more or the rate will stay the same, depends by the district?
Okay, I have no control over that. It all depends on the way in which districts are allocating funds. So I have no control over that.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Someone else. Yes.
Hi.
Yes, Miss Estrada. Sorry.
Okay, so let me just correct you. I'm not Miss, I'm a Dr. Estrada.
Okay,
So
doctor, sorry.
I have a PhD, but you should call me
Okay.
Christelle. You don't need to do
Christelle.
this Miss Estrada and Mrs. Estrada and all that
Okay.
kind of stuff. Just call me Christelle.
Christelle.
Okay, well, someone wants to speak and now you're not speaking.
Okay, Christelle, thank
Yes.
you. And I just want to say one of the questions that Janet asked about the district. So Cache County School District is specific. We normally try to communicate with the family when we send message. They can be in Spanish or the home language. So that way they get, their information that is very important when it is something that's happening. And the other thing that I want to share is me working with the refugee family. We try, it is so many things happening right now, so many news and things like that. So we're trying to let the family know that our goal is, the kids to be safe. They will have education, their priority for the district, for us. So I know there is a lot of stuff happening and people discussing, but one of the things we want to be sure, and that's my job, is to let the family know that our district is a safe place for them to come and ask questions. And if they're scared, concerned about anything, that's why we're there. So I think this is a very good opportunity to learn more and being available to help any families with whatever questions or concern they have. So thank you, Christelle.
You're welcome. So I've sent out as the ALS director So I'm the person in charge of all the schools. And so when we have meetings, I send out all the resources that I get from Utah Voices of Children that really focus on how to keep your children safe. There was a great parent notification from Salt Lake, from Canyons, from Granite. Ogden provided a resolution. So, you know, there are people all over the state in the educational system who are providing reassurances for families that they are committed to protecting the children in the schools. Okay, so there's someone else who wants to speak. So if you've spoken once, let other people speak first. Anyone else?
Hello.
We have about 4 more minutes.
Hi, my name is Lili Machuca Cristel. I work in South Davis Junior High. I'm from Davis School District. My work is a TA. I go and facilitate the conversation between the students and the teacher. The only practice that I have is I've been doing this since I was 10. I'm an ESL student. I graduated from high school. I speak the 2 languages. I was taught to always do 2 languages or think in 2 languages. Both of my parents are teachers, so it's been inputted to us. And it's a lot of need for people to be there, to be the interpreters for other people they cannot be. So I don't have all the experience like everybody else, but I always done it out of my kindness of my heart. And now I'm getting the right education and tools to continue doing this for the students.
Yeah, thank you so much. I mean, I think the point I want to make before we leave, well, 2 points. First, next Wednesday, please come 10 minutes early. I'll open it up and we'll do, you know, and then right at 7 o'clock we'll start. I'll also change the system so people can come in so I don't have to keep on being distracted and admitting people. And the biggest thing is we're doing this because we're committed to the future of the children of Utah, all the children of Utah, which means the children that speak another language are the kind of rich assets and resources for everyone else. That's really the point. When we had COVID, I did team teaching online with an English teacher and a physics teacher in 2 different schools. And the student that was at a Salt Lake High School, the next year, he said, well, can you still teach me? And so I ended up doing independent study with him. When he got there, he actually knows 5 languages, but nobody asked him, and his father has 2 doctorates in biotechnology and is a university professor, but nobody asked him, you know, what languages he spoke or his mastery of mathematics and science, and he was put in the lowest level classes. When I found out he was put in the lowest level classes, we had a conversation, and he ended up advocating for himself when his counselor wouldn't put him in an AP class. And he said no one had ever explained to him how important passing the WIDA was, because counselors wouldn't actually let him go into honors and advanced classes because he had a WIDA score. Okay, so I'm telling you, counselors cannot do that. There are no language requirements or WIDA requirements to have advanced coursework. In fact, that ends up being a civil rights violation for quality educational experiences for students who have another language. So that's why the work that you're doing and you've made a commitment to is about changing students' future and the future opportunities that they will have to create the kind of society they want, not the one that, you know, someone is making executive orders about. Okay, so it's 8 o'clock. If you have any other questions, please go to the USBE Canvas course. Get online, start doing the work, finish your course so you can be certified. And on Fridays, you know, you'll get messages from me based on the work that you're submitted in the discussion post. See where it says module, it kind of explains everything and then gives you resources in the assignment. You can either watch this or read that or, you know, whatever. And then it'll ask you questions. And the reasons it's important is that your responses should be thoughtful in the discussion post, as well as responding to two other people thoughtfully, because this is supposed to be a learning community. We're learning together. Okay, now remember, next Wednesday, please come on time. I'll send out this recording to you and also with the link to the 2024 cohort and the playlist that we have on USBE. And you'll be able to listen to some really amazing conversations with colleagues that you're now joining in a kind of an army of interpreters. So thank you so much for being here. I'm so grateful for your participation. And remember, call me Christelle. I don't need titles or whatever. Okay, take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
Good night.